Sure.
I believe you get a notification on Zoom that informs you.
Wait, you should text her. Text Himanshi on LinkedIn.
Sure, I could ask.
You can just send her a connection request and she just accepted it.
Oh, great.
Just she might be online. Oh.
Well, she did accept the invite on the event page,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is active now. Yeah, it'd be good to have another person right now, just for context for viewers watching. It is myself and my friend, former student counselor,
I'm nothing.
student
I'm
rep.
just a student at BCIT.
This
They
is
don't even say
student
people I was
currently.
a former counselor.
Counselor in the previous school year at
Oh.
the Student Association. Now it is on me for not effectively promoting this event. I
Mm-hmm.
did reach out to a couple people, direct message,
Oh,
and
that's
also
nice.
on LinkedIn, but only my LinkedIn. I could have done at least Instagram as well.
100%.
But
I hate LinkedIn.
no biggie. What I think I
Did
will do
she
is
get back to you?
I will not postpone or cancel, but go through the
Sure,
town
yeah.
hall as planned and then schedule a new one as well, so that I can get at
Hmm.
least a small group of students to join
Mm-hmm.
and ask me questions.
Did she get back to you for the meeting?
Oh, she's at work.
Oh,
All right, no problem.
all right, go ahead.
Thanks, man. All right, this time I'll ask you to mute your audio. I was just about to use the prompt I have as a host of the meeting. All right. So that you may stay muted for the duration of the meeting. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat, write them down, and then ask me after my presentation, where I'll do Q&A. Okay. Oh, glasses on. Looking serious. Just give me a minute to get this set up. All right. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Oh, thank you. Welcome to my town hall with your student representative governor, Bobby Davidson, who's me. Whoops. Still getting the hang of this. So, before I start on anything, I would like to first start with a land acknowledgement today. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Now, I had a Board of Governors meeting just last Tuesday. Before the open meeting started, the Board of Governors had an Indigenous workshop. And in that, we had a presenter. Her name is Corey Wilson-Raybould, sister of Jody. She spoke of us for about an hour, and just in regards to indigenization. Um, for me, as a student and a student leader, I would like to pursue initiatives where I can in regards to indigenization, to learn and unlearn about the what is appropriate, and especially with decolonization and reconciliation. While I've done, my own research looking into things, and I've spoken in discussion groups related to my role as a governor or not, just in the past. There is always more we can do, like in consideration of how I can connect with the indigenous peoples or nations in my day to day. So for me, When I make a land acknowledgement, I intend to make it personal. I was born here in Vancouver, um, it- where these territories are, or sorry, nations are. And I admit I don't often consider um, indigenous folks that do live around here. Um, my parents essentially they immigrated or they came from a different part of the country. While I was born here, I want to connect more with the land. I want to speak with the first peoples who had been on this land before it had been colonized. And I encourage my fellow students, if you have an indigenous peer or someone you know who identifies indigenous, spend 10 minutes with them, talk to them, and ask them about their experience, about their knowledge, and just get a better understanding of what you can do personally to pursue indigenization. Okay. Well, next, I don't have an introduction slide, but I'm going to take a minute to briefly introduce myself here. My name is Bobby Davidson. Pronouns are he, him, and I'm currently serving as the student representative governor at the BCIT since April of the last year. I also sit on the Education Council at BCIT. It's my third term there, and a counselor at the Student Association. A little about me personally. Uh, now, I really do enjoy getting involved. It's what encouraged me to at first put my name forward for roles like volunteering, occupational, and elected positions. But besides my extracurriculars, I'm currently in school. I take free courses right now in the BCIT Business Administration Diploma, general option. It's flexible learning. All my courses are online, so I can do it at my own pace, and my own time, whenever I like. And I have a day job. I'm working as a cashier at a Whole Foods market. I was full-time until last November. I switched to part-time to focus more on school. Besides that, I enjoy cycling along the seawall here in Vancouver and on beautiful days, um, walking along the coastline. You can say walking on the beach, right? Just like you see in someone's dating profile. Classic. And hang out with friends. Typically I like to go for ramen. That's like my signature. Or just go eat out, hang out, do fun recreational activities like hang out the rec room, one of my favorite spots, play some pool and arcade games. So those are among my hobbies. Oh, and also binge watching. I'm currently watching The Rookie and Disney's Survivor. They're both really fun shows. All right, I'm going to move forward. So to start off, what is the BCIT Board of Governors? So my interpretation on what the Board of Governors are is that the Board of Governors is the highest decision-making body of the institution. So we conduct governance for the institute, and we are also the group of folks made up of faculty and students and staff, like union representatives, that hold the BCIT president accountable. The president reports to the Board of Governors, and the president is our sole employee. We're joined in meetings by the president and his executive team. I'll call senior leadership in our open and closed meetings, which I'll speak more on in a moment. And we hear reports from the executive team, and they are applicable to answer our questions and accept our feedback. The board considers the best interests of the institution for its stakeholders, and among them, students, which I call the end user of programs when you register as a full-time, part-time, or other form of student, as well as faculty and staff, alumni, or partner organizations like BCIT Foundation, the Alumni Association, Student Association, Faculty and Staff Association. Next, I'd like to mention, what does a governor do? Well, of course, we attend our Board of Governors meetings. It's typically held at SE40. The open meetings are available to the public, so you are able to attend either in person or online. We used to use Zoom, but now we've moved to Microsoft Teams. So any student is welcome to join these meetings. They occur on one day, which is every month or so, or every other month. In preparation for these meetings, we read all the documentation that's released to us beforehand thoroughly so that we're prepared for the meeting, we're able to ask any questions we like and consult with our stakeholders, which for me is my constituents, my fellow students. We also attend events upon invitation, such as last June where I attended the post-secondary board governance workshop, which is by the BC government. All right. So who is specifically myself, the student representative governor? What's my role? Well, the student rep governor is one of two elected students that sit on the Board of Governors. Student rep governor is elected directly in the BCIT elections to a one-year term that ends May 31st of the following calendar year. So my term, elected term ends of this year, May 31st, 2025. I only started in April of last year because my predecessor resigned early into his term, so I started early. But typically, you would start as of June 1st. The second person is the Student Association President Governor, who is currently Jimmy Wang, and Jimmy is elected through the Student Association presidential election last year in the Student Association elections, and his term, like mine, ends on May 31st. Both student governors are voluntarily allowed to provide a written or verbal report to the board, and we are applicable to join certain committees. Now, I'm actually not on a committee, unfortunately, this school year, just due to my schedule, personal commitments, other extracurricular commitments, work. And at that October meeting, last October, you see in the minutes that I was unfortunately regret, which means I was not present. I did not choose to attend in person or online because I was unfortunately sick. And because of that, I'm not on a committee this year. So I can't speak to that. But I would recommend after this meeting, go on to the BCIT Board of Governors website if you're interested in um, learning about the committees. And the role is what you make it. So you can put in really as much time, effort, hours as you like. But at least the expectation is to, at the minimum, be prepared for the meeting and attend the meeting. So, as mentioned beforehand, what are open and closed meetings? Well, open meetings are accessible to the public through the BCIT Board of Governors website or webpage, which is over a virtual link. We now use Microsoft Teams. And you can also join the room in person if you're willing to go to the Burnaby campus at the appropriate time, specifically SE40, which is on the far south side of campus, far from any of the main buildings. The meeting minutes for open meetings are published on the website, so you can look back even now at previous meeting minutes that I had been attendance to and governors before me. Well, closed meetings. So in the same day, like I had last Tuesday, we have an open meeting and a closed meeting on the same day, and that's just given scheduling to ensure that everyone is present for the meeting. They happen at the same day, same time. They're only accessible to folks that are on the board and the executive team. Workshops, as I had last Tuesday, I had an Indigenous workshop, which the board may engage in on the same day as open and closed meetings or on other days. In camera, so for in camera, in closed meetings, this is when we go in camera, we engage in a private and confidential discussion that's only for members of the board, and the contents are not disclosed to others. So where in closed meetings, the senior leadership at BCIT and the president is present in the closed meeting. Once we go in camera, the president and executive team are asked to leave so that the board itself, the governors on the board, can engage in discussion on matters that we need to address just among the board. And on a related note, tours. I was given tours of all five campuses back in late August, early September. So I got to visit the Burnaby campus, specialty campuses. There's also the Cary building tour, which unfortunately I missed. I was not available for it. But being able to walk through all five campuses, um, get a sense from the tour guide, uh, who was either a dean or senior member of faculty of that particular campus. I was educated on just a baseline of the programs, offerings, services that are present at all five campuses. So you are given the opportunity to be informed for the entire perspective of BCIT, the greater community, which consists of all five campuses. What matters are discussed, or typically discussed in the Board of Governors meetings? So there's an agenda given, and on the agenda, there are a number of items, and I'll just give a brief mentioning of some of the specific items that are addressed. We follow Robert's Rules of Order, so any motion, um, I would say, has to be moved first and seconded. Then goes discussion, which is essentially debate, question and answer period. And if applicable, we vote on a motion. The documents, as mentioned before, they're provided to the governors in advance for review prior to our meetings. The reports are typically presented verbally by the board chair, education council chair, and the president. I also mentioned the student association president typically gives a written report. Last Tuesday, Jimmy gave a verbal one. Um, and this written report just reflects on what the student association's activities, events, what governance is up to, and last Tuesday mentioning of the student association elections. There are academic motions that are presented for approval from the Education Council, which I'll go into on the next slide. And this regards changes or amendments to education policy, program cancellations, and creations of new programs. There are Board of Governors committees, which present reports, updates, and motions for approval. So what is the Education Council? Now, this is only a town hall in regards to my role as a governor, but I'm on the Education Council as well, so I figured I'd mention this. It's a decision-making body on basically any changes to education policies at BCIT and student programs that encompass all five campuses and all of the schools. And this is relevant to all faculty and students. The committees of EDCO, so just like Board of Governors, Education Council has committees, which reports to and provides motions to EDCO. And if these motions are passed, they go to the Board of Governors for approval. So Education Council reports to Board of Governors, and the Board of Governors approves the motions from EDCO, and they're passed and implemented. As for the students, there are 4 students that serve on EDCO, one being myself. With the 4 seats, 3 of them are independent through the BCIT elections. They automatically sit on policy committee, so I've been on policy committee for 3 years. I also optionally joined education learning technology design committee last school year. Currently, Lynn sits, Lynn Hoang, he's another representative, he sits on it. So at the policy committee, we meet as frequently as Education Council, which is every other month or so. Policy committee discusses changes we make to education policy before bringing it forward to EDCO. Um, so first, before it even reaches EDCO, changes of policy, amendments to policy has to be approved by the policy committee. And within the policy committee, there are working groups. So I'm on a working group that is assessing a policy. So in those working groups, we go into the nitty-gritty of the details of policy, the wording, and then work to make amendments, changes there. And I will also mention the fourth student is the vice president student experience at the Student Association. And they currently, Xavier, he sits on executive committee. All right. Now you must be curious of how you may become either or both a Board of Governors member, or I should say governor, and an Education Council member. So the criteria is simply that you must be a registered student, you must be enrolled in a minimum one course for this current term, and as well as fall 2025 and winter 2026, and you meet all financial obligations. You are not allowed to withdraw a course, or you must step down from your role, or in my case, roles on the board in EDCO. And for your nomination form, you need three eligible student signatures, which are three students that meet financial obligations and have paid the fees. Nominations are currently open. So in this town hall, I am encouraging everyone that's watching the recording or currently present in this meeting, please, if you are interested, the nomination period is open right now for both BCIT elections and student association elections. Lastly, I'd like to provide some general advice here, which is to always do your own research, be welcome to listen and hear from others' opinions, to attend meetings, and keep an open mind. Always be skeptical, always ask questions in the meetings and to your student representatives, uh, and do what you think is right. Now, I encourage you to make decisions, what you believe is best in regards to your vote, just in general too, in consideration of if you are a governor, the interests of BCIT and the students, which is the electorate and the greater community. For your campaign, now I've campaigned a couple times. I've won elections, I've lost elections, and I do encourage you, of course, to put the most into it if you can. Put up posters and introduce yourself, who you are, bring forward your ideas, and engage with students online for messaging apps and in person, go down the hallways, talk to people. I encourage you to serve to the best of your ability and keep in mind that your personal and academic commitments ought to come first. So certainly prioritize and approach effectively. Have good time management skills. And I would say as well, you grow into the role. Like I suppose the the phrase "fake it till you make it" can come into play. So for me, at first, when I first started BCIT to become a student leader, I had my own self-doubts, right? Like I was thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm up to the task. I don't know if I can make it work with my academics, personal life, have a good school life balance. Is it feasible? These are fair questions to ask, certainly, if you're considering nomination. But I would still encourage, if interested, put your name forward. You know, um, for the campaign, win or lose, is a chance to build leadership skills, public speaking skills, and more. Just put yourself out there. Um, so I would recommend that. And if you are elected, you win, then engage in good governance. Do the best you can in your role. Um, do what you think is best, of course, and serve. It is really, I think, a great experience to learn from. There is compensation for all the positions mentioned for nominations. So you can look into that. I know that, of course, is an incentive, as well as just the aspect for me is having a seat at the table to be able to represent my fellow students. So yes, encourage others, encourage yourself to nominate for positions, and when the time comes, please vote. And thank you for listening to my presentation. This concludes the presentation segment of my town hall. So I'm now going to open up to Q&A. If you have any questions, and please, if you like, you may email me for official inquiries. You can set up a meeting with me virtually, or perhaps in person if we have the time, on or off campus. Uh, Thank you for attending. Thank you for watching. All right, now open the floor to questions.
Yeah, it was a wonderful presentation, but yeah, got no questions.
No questions?
No questions.
No
I pretty
worries.
much, I pretty much know what you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. So what I'm going to do is upload the recording online,
Sure.
yeah, for people to view if they like, to get my interpretation of just the fundamentals on what my positions are.
Hmm.
I like people to, of course, do their own research, look into it on
Yeah,
the
100%.
respective websites and see what people are interested in if they want to put their name forward. So
Sure,
yes,
yeah.
encourage everybody, every student, that if you're eligible, go ahead.
Oh, that'd be great.
Thank you. Okay, with
Yeah.
no questions, for anyone that has a specific situation that they need to address with me, this is the part where I would say I'll stop the recording and we can discuss just off the recording or schedule a one-on-one, I would say directly after the meeting or at a different time that works for us. So now I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you for watching, for those that are watching. And please feel free to reach out, ask me questions. You can email me officially, but also feel free to reach out on message if you have me, like LinkedIn or social media platforms. Or if you see me on campus, just say hi. All right. Thank you.
Oh,